We have a lovely little patio just outside our bedroom. It's wonderful, and where we live, we get a lovely view of the ocean and we get to watch the sunset. But it looked a little bit bare. We've got a nice little swing seat there, and in the afternoons, Craig and I love to sit there and just spend time with one another and in the presence of the Lord. But it was lacking something. And so we decided, let's take a trip out and get ourselves a bunch of plants and make this patio a little private garden just for us. And so off we went, and it was kind of fun, the kids came along and we could each of them picked out their favorite plant, and we each had a turn, and I picked out this beautiful rose bush, and he picked out a few things, and got some little flowers and little pansies, and it was exciting, we came home and took out the pots and the soil, and all of us got stuck in there and made our little garden. And it looked and it smelled beautiful. I tell you what, every chance we had when we were taking a break or whether we had a moment, boom, we were out there sitting on the swing seat just to be able to enjoy the plants. But time went on, seasons changed a bit, and suddenly one day I noticed that one of my beautiful bright purple pansies had died. I couldn't believe it. It was so beautiful. It was this unique, bright purple color. I had picked it out myself, and we had nurtured it. We'd put it in the Miracle Grow, and we put it in the perfect spot in this lovely little pot. And 1 minute it was flourishing. A cold wind had come along, and obviously it was just too much for it out there, out on the balcony, on the patio. The wind got to it, and I don't know, it just didn't cut it. And I tried, we gave it more Miracle Grow and tried to put some fertilizer in. But the day came when I had to look at this plant and say, that's it. All hope is gone. This plant is dead, and I must let it go and run back and go get another plant and replace it. When I came to that reality, it was okay to let the plant go. And we could go find another one that I loved, and we could replace it. Well, it's not extremely dramatic story. I wasn't going for something too dramatic. But it's a very good picture of death of a vision, which is what we're going to look at in this lesson. Death of a vision is really like that. It's exciting when you get your call. When the Lord says, I've called you to plant this, this, and this. I've called you to do this. And every vision you have is like one of those beautiful flowers that you pick out especially because you love it so much. It becomes something special to you. You dream about it. You imagine what it's going to look like when it's in full bloom and all the blossoms are out. How fantastic it's going to be. How much you're going to enjoy it. How you're going to flourish. And then one day, a cold wind comes on that vision and it starts to die. And you get desperate. You try to revive the vision. You try to dig around. You pray. You intercede. You push harder than you've ever pushed before. But still it withers. It dies. The life goes out of it until one day you must face the reality. All hope is gone. This vision is dead. Now in chapter 17 of Practical Prophetic Ministry, I give you a bit of explanation why the vision has to die. So I'm not going to repeat myself here, but I want to look at how you know when the vision is really dead. There was a good indication for me why I knew my plant was dead. It was brown. It was wilted. The flowers were shriveled up, little pieces of debris stuck in the pot. It was nothing in there that indicated life. There wasn't even a little green stem that gave me a glimmer of a hope. It was gone. Let it go. It was shriveled up. There was no life left in it. I knew without a doubt I had to let it go. And so it's the same with your vision. But the problem is you say, oh no, there's a little bit of green there. Hey, this is just a bit of green. If I just push through, it'll come to life again. Oh, I'm here to save you that agony. I'm here to bring you to the point to know, okay, this is how I know when a vision is really dead. And once I know that, where do I go from here? Okay, so number one, you've given it up. You've given it up. When the pressure comes and the vision starts to die and God indicates to you it's time to let that go, It was great for that season. You know what? You enjoyed your pansies for a few your sunflowers for one little season, but that season's over now. It's time for a new vision. You come to the point of saying, okay, it's time to pull that pansy out the pot, chuck it away. When you come to a point of really letting it go, where you bring that vision to the Lord and say, okay, Lord, I give it up to you. You know what? At the end of the day, it's your vision. It's not even my vision. When the whole thing has shriveled up and died so badly around you, the Lord won't even allow you to do anything. That's the worst. It's heartbreaking. It's painful. It's ugly. When you see this poor person and they've got this vision that they got in the past and you can see it is so dead. It's been dead for 20 years now. But there's some green there. One day that vision is... No, it's not. It's not. It's dead. One day, it's not. Pluck it up. Throw it away. It's time to get something new. It's time to replant and use up that space for something that is going to flourish. So number one, you have really given it up. You've come to the point of letting it go and saying, okay, Lord, I can face the facts here. It's wilted. It's shriveled up. The situations have died. You won't even let me do anything towards this vision. Every contact, every opportunity I had totally died for this vision. You won't even let me push forward. I give it up to you. I let it go. And then number two, you do not think about it any longer. You know, I did not lie in bed that night thinking, oh, I know my pansy's dead. But I sure wish my pansy was still alive. I remember its rich, beautiful colors and how wonderful it was when it was in bloom. Oh, it's pitiful, really pitiful, isn't it? It's even more pitiful on a prophet that does. Oh, and I remember the time when we were having such revival and God used me so mightily and everybody was coming to me for ministry and now I'm sitting here in the desert and oh, I look back at that time. If you're still doing that, the vision's not dead. And the worst part is that you're not going to get the new vision that God has for you. And that's the dangerous part of not letting go of a vision, is that you never get to take hold of the greater thing God has for you. Because you're always looking to the past saying, well, you know how it was, the days of glory, the good times were rolling back then. I've had the anointing, I had the power, I had the people, I had the fame, I had the fortune, whatever it is. And now your whole life, and even though those doors have closed so badly, you're still hankering after the past and still wanting to have that experience again. If you're doing that, your vision is not dead. It is dead when actually you don't even think about it anymore. When you meet somebody from that era and they said, man, I remember you were involved with so-and-so. And you go, yeah, you're right. Yeah, well, that was a long time ago. I don't even think about that anymore. When you come to that point, you know that your vision is good and dead and buried. The third point is you look forward towards the future. Not only have you given this vision up to the Lord, you don't think about it anymore. But you know what? You're like me saying, okay, well, let's go out and find a new plant. Come on. And that's exciting. And that is the only way to really get past the death of a vision process, is to look to the future and say, woohoo, that means a bigger bush. That means more than I ever had before. Something bright, something colorful. I wonder what it's going to look like. I wonder what God's going to call me to do. When you have that outlook, it's like you put your key in the lock and turn it and open up a whole new door of opportunity. Are you feeling like the Lord is just not opening doors for your ministry? Could it be that you're just not looking to the future? That you're always looking at what you did do, what you did accomplish in the past, instead of saying, okay, Lord, well, that worked for then. What needs to work for now? Yeah, we all have those little pet visions. I mean, I even have some every now and again that cross my mind, and you get those warm, fuzzy feelings, you know, because they're an old comfort zone that you did in the past, and everybody loved you back then, and you felt good, you felt accomplished. Hey, that was great for back then, but it's over now. It's time to look forward to a new vision. And perhaps it's not something you're familiar with right now. But just as in times past, you accomplished so many great things, it's time to accomplish even greater things. So now let's look but how to know if a new vision is of God. And let's put our focus on the new vision. And I promise you that any vision you had before you started your prophetic training, mark my words, it's going to be called to death. Mark my words on it. Because you weren't in prophetic office then, you hadn't gone through training back then, you did not have the full picture. So just when you think, well, I've got this vision, I'm going to do this prophetic training to fulfill it, I've got some news for you. Either that vision is incomplete, or you've got the totally wrong vision. It's not suitable for where you're heading right now. So take note of these teachings, okay? How to know if a vision is of God? Here's a very good point. It is not something you boldly considered before. I've always worked with women, especially abused women. So therefore, I assume that God's going to call me to minister to these women. Probably not. In fact, if that's what you've always done, it's very unlikely that is what God will call you to do. Because it's dead. That vision's dead. He killed it. So that means that it's something that you haven't boldly said, oh, of course I can do that. That's what God's called me to do. In fact, if suddenly a vision or an opportunity comes across your path that you know is of God, but you're thinking, oh, Lord, that's a stretch. I would never have thought that you would have called me in this direction before. But yet, on the other hand, actually, it's exciting. It's something that does burn in me. I just didn't think that that's where you would lead me. That's good. That means you're actually getting revelation. Now, I like to say that, that's why it's called revelation, because it's something you didn't know before. If you knew what your vision was for ministry, if you just knew everything, then it wouldn't be revelation, would it? No, God will reveal things to you in His right time. And He's not going to reveal the vision of you 10 years before you're ready to do it. So, no, you don't have an idea. No, you don't have a clear picture. But when you're ready, He'll give you a clear picture and He'll give you a clear vision. So don't assume that you know what the vision is, and don't get stressed out if you don't know what the vision is. When you go through the process of the training, when you face whatever God's wanting you to face, when you're ready for that vision, He'll reveal that vision to you and you'll be able to step right into it. And that's why I said usually it's something that you did not consider boldly before. Secondly, it's not your strength. Why? Because we have a God that delights in the weak and in the foolish. Lucky for us, there's plenty of that to go around, isn't there? He delights in the weak and foolish. He's going to be glorified. Apostle Paul said that he boasts in his weakness because the Lord said, my strength is glorified. My strength is sufficient for you. I'm glorified in your weakness. So if you're feeling a little bit sensitive and you feel like, oh, Lord, I can't do this. Lord, you're calling me to stand out there and preach. Lord, you're calling me to stand out there and minister to people. I can't do that. That's not my strength. Good. Now we're on the right track, that this is probably exactly the vision God has for you. God doesn't call you to do what you are capable of. God calls you to do what He is capable of, what He can empower you to do. So yeah, if you feel a little weak, a little vulnerable in this situation, yeah, you're right on track. And then it happens naturally. You don't have to push a vision when it's of the Lord. It really takes place. You don't have to say, well, that's it. We got a vision. First step, we're going to do this. Second step, we're going to build the building. Third step, we're going to build the courtyard. Fourth step, we're going to No, that's not a vision. That's just a plan. And that's got nothing to do with the calling God has put in your life. That is the wonderful thing about the Lord. When He gives you a vision, it really unfolds naturally. You don't have to push. You don't have to shove. Things happen. And sometimes you don't even click at first because this person invites you to speak a message and come and share something, so you go and do it. And then another door opens over here for a ministry opportunity, so you go and do it. And suddenly this person gets hold of you. And you're starting to see a pattern here. And suddenly things are falling into place. You're not having to push it. You're not having to do it. God is putting those things in place. And before you know it, you find yourself in a circumstance where you are fulfilling your calling and ministry and a whole new vision that you never thought you could do. That's exciting. And that is a good way to know. If you're having to push the vision, if you're having to force it to happen, either that vision is already dead or it's not time yet. So wait, step back and allow the Lord to open the doors. And when you step through them, you're going to start seeing the circumstances fall into place, and it should happen naturally. It shouldn't be something you have to push through. So yes, death of a vision, it's not easy, and it's not the last time you're going to experience it either. This is something that you should learn to identify in every part of your life. I want you to study the teachings on it, and we are going to look more at it. But I want you to look now just at yourself personally. I want you to take a look at all the visions that God has given you through the years. Come on, just even as you're listening, what are all the main visions that God has given you? Have you really given them up to the Lord? Or do you still think upon them fondly and think, one day? Have you really let Him have it? Does that challenge you? Are you having to think, man, what visions did I have? If you're there, that's a good sign. That means you really have let it go and you're looking towards the future now. But if you still got those visions, those little hopes, that little hope inside that says, maybe one day, let it go. Take all those visions like little nuggets in your hand and just hold them up to the Lord and say, here you go, Lord. Into your hands I commit my spirit. It's back to the death process, isn't it? I let it go. And then when He wants to move, He will move. And He will not take His time. He will open those doors and He will cause things to happen. But it could be that the reason why those doors are not opening is because you haven't shut the old ones yet. You're still looking back. You're still looking to what you had, looking to what you wanted, instead of looking forward for the new things God has for you. Make it easier on yourself. Make it easier on your training. Let those things go. And look forward to the resurrection that's just ahead of you. Now we're nearing the end of this course. This is the second last lesson. So I haven't got such a difficult project for you. The Lord has been challenging you a lot. By now you should have a very clear picture of what a prophet is. Bit of an idea of the price the prophet pays. But hopefully as well, this course has started to take you through preparation and started to prepare you for the prophetic training road that is ahead of you now. So these last couple of lessons, and certainly in our next lesson, I really want you to put your heart into it. Because however you respond or whatever you receive from these lessons will act as a foundation for the courses that you do afterwards. Okay? So let's take a look at your project. Question number 1. According to chapter 17, why is death to a vision so necessary? According to chapter 17 in the book, why is death of a vision so necessary? Share in your own words. Don't quote me word for word, okay? I want to hear it from your own mouth. Question 2. Can you resurrect your own vision? You can just give me a yes or no. Question 3. Share a vision you've had for ministry for some time, particularly something that you had before you started the training, okay? Share it. Just think, like I said to you, what is the visions that you've had? Pick out one that you've had for quite some time. A. Is the Lord calling this vision to death right now? Please give me details. Don't say yes, no. I want a little bit more fluff, okay? Is the Lord calling this vision to death right now? B. What struggles are you having letting this vision go? What is the one thing that's making it difficult to let this vision go? C. What reasons do you have to hold on to this vision? Okay, so we will look at both aspects, you see. On the one hand, what struggles are you having to let it go? But in C, what reasons do you have to hold on to it? In your mind, in your understanding, what reasons do you have to hold on? Now, depending on how you respond to that, we can have a look and see exactly what God is calling you to give up, what you should be holding on to. But if nothing else, it starts bringing you to a place of readiness to let go of the past and to embrace the future. On to resurrection. That's what we're going to look at in the next lesson. So, get past the death. Let's get on to the good stuff.